I don't care that she's reinventing herself. I really don't care that she's reinventing herself. But the problem is when she does this kind of a thing, she tries to scrub her old identities, and she tries to hide any problems that her old identities might cause for her new identity.
This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of us watching Anna Beeb Anna Spook Edition. Yeah, I've been playing around with my audio again. We are on an audio odyssey. Will we ever be done playing around with our audio? Probably not. So, sit back and enjoy. Hopefully we've got this figured out. I don't know. Anyway, we are going to get caught up with Anna's Viking Princess Lifts because, sure. Because we need to. Yeah. So when last we checked in with Viking Princess Lifts, we found out that she tore her compression garments. And I asked you guys about how easy it is to tear compression garments because Anna was saying that she tears hers fairly frequently, and I thought that was strange. And several of you told me that medical grade compression garments don't tear, and when they do get holes in them, they don't look like that. And I thought that was probably accurate because the hole that she gets in hers in the other video looks more like what you would get in nylons or pantyhose, and that seems strange for a garment that is supposed to be strong enough that it basically just squishes you in. So that kind of tells me more about Anna's compression and her lipedema treatment and her lipedema management. It just kind of confirms things for me. I feel okay. The way I feel is that I feel like Anna's just kind of like cosplaying her stuff. You know, she cosplays being a lipedema warrior. She doesn't really take care of her lipedema. And we said this before she went into her lipedema arc, which I need to finish. She didn't do any of the preventative care, and I don't think she's really doing any of the maintenance care after the fact, right? And she definitely isn't with the heavy lifting shit. And now she's cosplaying being a strong woman, right? All right, anyway. We're going to go through the Viking Princess Lifts stuff. We're going to try to get through it pretty fast because I know she's had a couple meltdowns. And we want to get to those. So, if there is no sound, it is because there is music. And so please don't be like, there's no sound. I know there's no sound. All right, anyway. This is Anna being
in front of me.
Anna.
But when I do it like this, I feel like a dolphin.
Anna has to be the most annoying person at the gym. The only thing I really wanted to point out here is the outfit was a gift from Torrid. This is one of those times where Anna is like quietly not mentioning a sponsorship. She does this a lot where she just doesn't. She'll do this real quiet. You'll notice that Torrid's not tagged in this at any point, not even as a hashtag. So Anna gets free shit a lot from companies, especially companies that cater to plus-sized people. And, you know, Anna likes to do the whole, like, I don't get paid. I don't make a lot of money off this. You know, I don't get special treatment for, you know, being a plus-sized woman on the internet. Really? Because Torrid just gave you free clothes, so sure seems like special treatment to me. Torrid's not giving me free clothes for existing. I don't really want to go over this whole thing, her whole post here about how it started versus how it's going. You guys have heard me complain about this pretty much every video she does one of these. She's really leaning into these, I've noticed, but every single one of these that she's doing is, in my opinion, gross manipulation, because her how it started videos are clips of her when she was working with Copilot, aka Trainwell, and those clips were from a time period when she was trying to convince her audience that she was losing weight simply by doing these workouts. And that was the most strenuous workout that she was doing. And so she was trying to convince her audience that she was losing weight doing that, when in reality, she was also on a GLP-1 that she was also sponsored to be taking. And she was sponsored by Trainwell, aka Copilot. So she was getting paid to use the app and also to use the GLP-1, but she didn't disclose really that she was on the GLP-1, but she was disclosing that she was using the app, and she was basically lying to her audience about losing weight via the GLP-1. But now she's repackaging all of this by, again, not mentioning the GLP-1 and not telling you the original reason why she was using the app. She's not even mentioning the app. She's like, oh, I was just randomly doing exercises and swinging barbells around. No, that had nothing to do with what she's doing right now. Absolutely nothing. And she's repackaging it as like, oh, I was even then I was preparing myself to be a strong woman. Even then I was preparing myself for heavy lifting. She wasn't, though. And I just feel like it's like super manipulative and kind of lying. I think if she really wanted to kind of like tie these two things together, there's other ways she could have done it that would be less manipulative, honestly, less lie-y, but her new audience here on Viking Princess Lifts doesn't know her history, though, and I don't know, maybe they will eventually figure it out, but until they do, they just assume that she's always been working towards this, and she wasn't. She didn't even know what strong woman was back then. So this is a weird one. I don't really like it. This is a clip from some other podcast. I don't know what podcast it is, but it's just two women here sitting. It says, why I don't take dating advice from the internet anymore. There's a little song here, and then there's another song at the end, which is why this is quiet. And the first woman says, I have decided, how's it go? I've decided that if you take me on a date and the date sucks, you have to fight me at the end physically. And then the other girl goes, physically? And then the first girl goes, physically. And they're singing back and forth, and they're like bopping to the music. And then Anna's here doing her cutesy little, oopsies, I'm a girl bullshit that she does. And I hate it so much. But she's standing over her coach, who is an amputee. I called him a paraplegic last time. He's an amputee. But anyway, so she's standing over him, holding his leg, his amputated leg, the replacement leg, prosthetic. There we go. Words. I guess implying that she's beat him to death with it, even though he's got two of the logs laying on top of him, the strongman logs. I don't know what's happening in this picture, to be perfectly honest with you. Anna's just implying that she's gone on a date with him and it went poorly, and so she beat him to death. Whatever. She says, whoops, guess I was stronger than I thought, but guess who's single again? Anna, there's one common denominator in all of your failed relationships. Anyway, Anna's been dating this year, I think. She's been implying that she's dating this year. I hope she finds somebody, I guess. I mean, I don't not wish her happiness. I just think that this is stupid. I think this is stupid. I think Anna can be funny. This is not one of those moments. However, I will say, I can't remember if it's on her coach's Instagram. No. TikTok, yes, is Cybernetic Strongman. And I can't remember if it's on his TikTok or on the gym's, whose name, I can't remember the name of the gym, on their Instagram. But there's a similar picture. I can't remember if he's on the ground or not, but he is sans his prosthetic, and then there's another guy in the picture who's holding the prosthetic, and it looks like he's fighting him with his prosthetic. Anyway, there's a similar picture to this on one of those two websites, and it's clear that they're goofing around. And I guess Anna must have saw that picture and was like, oh, that's funny. I want to recreate that. So that's just kind of how that's coming off to me, because I remember seeing that picture and being like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's not funny this time. It's not funny this time, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Anyway, but he has done this before, where he's had a person hold his prosthetic leg as if they have beaten him or going to beat him or attacked him with his own leg. There's humor there. It's just not this time. I saw Chikara react to this one, and it's weird on a lot of levels for me. Keep in mind that Anna is 42 this year. That's right, it's October. Anna will be 42. So she says, petition to call personal records P, as in IP'd, R from now on. She says, I'm moving 315-pound deadlifts for 2 sets of 4 reps. I think I know what that means. Proof that hyper-focusing on form eventually unlocks hidden strengths, I guess. Now I got to work on my pelvic floor so it can keep up with all of my gains. I guess her form is better. I feel like she's still rocking on her feet, but I don't do this, so I would have to take other people's breakdown of this. Oh, and you guys told me that the reason why she's not wearing gloves is because y'all like to feel the bar? I don't get it, but y'all were pretty unified on that one. So I guess you don't like gloves because you can't feel the bar? I don't get it. It's okay. I don't have to. I would just think that I would want to not tear the shit out of my hands, but I guess that's what the chalk is for. So anyway, I don't do this. I guess when and if I ever get to lifting weight that heavy, I guess I'll figure it out on my own. I'm not there yet. And I do want to give Anna props for being able to move 300 plus pounds. I mean, that's not a small feat. So the peeing herself thing, though, I have a lot of thoughts. One of which being, why are you even sharing that information? I don't need to know that. I could have gone my entire life without ever knowing that. Most of the people on the internet could have gone their entire life without knowing that. Also, why would you want to put that on the internet? You can't take that back. This isn't the first time she's mentioned it, though. This is actually, I think, the second time she's mentioned it. I don't get it. But here we are. The next thing I want to talk about is Anna says that for those wondering how normal this is, the answer is pretty normal. It's not. Okay? First things first, are there people that have problems with incontinence? Yes. I'm not trying to, pee shame people. There are a number of reasons why people may have issues with incontinence. We're talking about Anna. So we're not talking about other people. Anna's problem is she's obese. And Anna doesn't want to admit that that's her problem. So Anna's trying to find any other reason for it to be other than her obesity. Like normal. I mean, this is one of those things you really could blame on your mystery obesity genes that no one knows anything about. So we should just not even acknowledge the fact that you've mentioned them. You're not living that down either. Anna's problem is she's obese, and she's always been obese, and her pelvic floor can't keep up with the fact that she's just got extra weight just crushing the shit out of it. Will pelvic floor exercises help her with that? Probably. I'm not a doctor. I would assume. And there you go. She wants to blame her hormones. She's going to be 42, but I mean, she's only 42. Come on, man. Her hormones are probably out of whack and probably have been out of whack for a long time because she's obese. You know? Is she lifting too heavy? I don't know. That's for her and her coach to decide, I guess. I guess if you can pick it up, I guess it's not too heavy. I don't know. She's not bleeding out of her nose. I'm sorry, that was weird. So there's my thought on that. Okay, my other thought. I told you I had many. If you know you're going to do this, If you know this is going to happen, why don't you just put a pad on? They make them. They make incontinence pads. You can go into any store and buy them. You can go to a grocery store. You can go to a drugstore. You can go anywhere that does like general goods and buy incontinence pads, right? You can just buy like menstrual pads, menstruation pads. Like, why wouldn't you? You know this happens. She does, because she's mentioned it before. You know this happens. Why wouldn't you wear a pad? Right? Why are you just out here free peeing when you lift? I don't understand. It's gross. You know, other people who have incontinence problems wear pads for those reasons. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, so that's my take on this one. I don't understand why Anna is so insistent on being gross at every given opportunity. This is another one of her how it started, how's it going. I hate that outfit, and I didn't like that one either. Her how's it going videos. Anytime you see her phone, she was doing a train well workout. So just FYI. I'm not going to read this because it's all just a bunch of blither blather. Okay, this is one of her crash outs.
I think this might be a car crash out. It was bad. It was good, and it was bad. I did more than I've ever done on log. I push press, but when we got to stones, my arm, because all the swelling just gave out, and like, it's so frustrating when everything in you wants to be the best, wants to work the hardest, and your body just decides to not cooperate, and I have no control over it, and I feel helpless, and it's very frustrating. And it's not like a muscle injury or like something that can be rehabbed. It's like my arm feels like a balloon that's gonna pop because of the freaking fluid.
Health and strength. Why do you record yourself doing this and then put it on the internet? I don't get it.
I want to be successful, and when I can't do something, instead of being like my body's not cooperating, those thoughts creep in like I'm being lazy, I'm not trying hard enough, but simultaneously I hurt, and it's so frustrating. Not every day in the gym is a good day. Some days are like this and just make you feel like shit. I'm going home feeling terrible about myself. And I really shouldn't, because I had a really great log, but the fact that I couldn't pick up that stone, that my arm gave out, it's living in my head right now, and I don't know how I'm going to get past that. Today I will, but I'm just sad. So I'm going to drive home and probably cry and listen to sad music the whole way.
Why? Okay.
And then when I get home, I'm going to stop letting myself be sad. I'm going to do something that makes me happy, and I'm going to move on, because this is just one day at the gym. This is not my whole story.
I can't imagine being this fucking dramatic.
This is just a blip. It's just a blip, and I need to move on.
I can't imagine being this fucking dramatic. It's not even like she was at competition. Like, if this was competition, I can understand. Right? Because, like, it's competition. Everybody's watching. This was just one of the days at gym. She goes 3 times a week. And I think it's, Fridays that she does the actual training for the actual events at Strongman. So this would be Friday if she's doing the log and the stones. And again, she's only been doing this for 2 months. Now, this was 4 days ago as of today. Today, again, being October the 1st. So happy birthday to both myself and Viking Princess Lifts. Today was a really hard day at the gym for me. I manage several autoimmune conditions. Don't ask, she won't tell. And most of the time, they do not affect my training. Really? Because this would be the second time you've had an issue because of them. Recently, my body has been swelling a lot. My doctors think it's because my body is changing. When is your body not changing? Your body is always changing. Like every clothing haul, your body is changing. Every time you're in pain, your body is changing. Your body is changing is your favorite go-to. Anyway, I'm losing fat and gaining muscle. Bitch, no, you're not. Look, you may be losing fat. I'll give you that. I will give you that. Gaining muscle? No offense. You've been doing this for 2 months. Maybe you've gained a pound of muscle. And that's me being nice. Do you know how hard it is for a woman to gain muscle without assistance from juicy vitamins? Okay. I wish I could put in, maybe I will put in Chikara's little rant here, but maybe I won't. At the same time, it is incredibly difficult for women to put on muscle. And it requires a good deal of focus and training to do it. And I appreciate that Anna has been supposedly going to the gym 3 days a week, every week, supposedly, and that she is progressively adding weight to her lifts. That's cool, but that's not muscle. Is she burning fat? Possibly. Is she losing fat? Possibly. That I believe. I would believe that. But putting on muscle? No. Is she getting more muscle tone? Probably. I don't know how you would tell. Even with all of the liposuction, I don't know how you would know that she's got muscle tone going on. I mean, not to be a dick, but I don't know how you would see it. But no, gaining muscle. Stop. Just stop. My left arm, in particular, has a bad pocket of fluid and it's causing me pain. This is the first time I have ever heard her talk about her arms holding fluid. So this is new. So this is the first time I've ever heard her talk about her arms holding fluid. Her calves, particularly I think it's her right calf, swells like to be 2 times the size of her right calf. Wait, her right calf swells to be twice the size of her left calf. I think that's right. I think that is correct. Anyway, one of her calves swells to be twice the size of her other one. And this is since her last surgery. So they fucked something up. And because it's noticeable. And that's been pretty common since her last surgery. But like, I've not heard her talk about her arms and I've not noticed her arms swelling. So this is new. Let's see. The gym is hot. And while I started off feeling relatively fine, I don't know what this has to do with anything. The heat was what eventually pushed the swelling to the point it was making my arm weak. Okay. I'm seeing my lymphatic team tonight to help alleviate the swelling. I don't know. That said, this is going to be an issue until it's not. You don't say. My body is changing. You've already said that. And it's freaking out a bit. She likes to say that a lot too. I just need to be patient with myself and not punish myself for doing my best when my best looks a little different right now. She likes to say that a lot too. She literally said pretty much all of this, not verbatim, but pretty damn close, when she was leaving Texas and going to North Carolina to go for her, 3-week stay at the bougie fat camp, she called it. She basically said something almost identical to this before she went to the Pirates dinner thing, because she had been pushing herself so hard going to all of the national parks that her calves and her ankles had swollen, and she was in pain. She was in physical pain. So that was way before she started doing the strong woman stuff. So this is something she says pretty frequently. She is always, anytime she goes through any kind of swelling episode or any kind of pain episode, again, we don't know what causes it because she won't tell. She usually says something like this. My body is changing and it's freaking out. I need to be patient with myself and not punish myself for doing my best when my best looks different. Or she says something like this. I want to say roughly every 4 to 6 months we get this. It's almost quarterly we get one of these. So what's going to be the problem? What is this? October, November, December, January. What's going to be the thing in February? Right? What's going to be the cause of this in February? I'm not laughing because I'm not laughing because it's particularly funny. I'm just laughing because it's so predictable. Anna has a cycle that Sam at Every Size nailed down pretty hard. Anna has a cycle, and this is squarely in, I think it's phase 4 or something like that, phase 4 or 5. But the other thing is her excuses have a cycle, right? The words she uses have a recycled cycle. It's you, even within her cycle, you can pretty much guess exactly what she's going to say. It's just like that. Did she post this twice? No, this is just another one. Yesterday, I post a very real moment in my car after a bad workout. Here's some more context. Before starting this journey, I went through a year of 4 separate surgeries to remove lipidemic fibroids, from my body. I am less than 6 months post my final surgery, and it can take up to 2 years to fully heal. I think that's not true. On top of that, my body is changing quickly as I've started lifting heavy. As a result, sometimes my body is a little overwhelmed and a little unpredictable. Her body is a separate entity, by the way. I've had some swelling that's manifesting in a new way that I'm learning to manage it. My arms specifically have been tricky. This is the first time we've started. This is new. The arms thing is new, by the way. My arms dead weighting has not only happened in the gym, but in other parts of my life. Again, this is new. I have a pocket of fluid that sits behind my elbow and likes to cause chaos. You do? Okay. Especially when I get hot, then it likes to really go ham and make my whole arm feel weak like a balloon ready to pop. Oh my God. She wrote a novel. The funny thing is lifting helps move fluid. That said, my lifting is also limited as I work through this. I'll get there. What? Even while things are changing, I have to remember that I am still putting in the work and my lifts are still improving from that work. Not every day is perfect, but sometimes you just need a good car cry to regroup and move on. Okay, cool, but do you need to post them on the internet? That's where you start getting in trouble. Lastly, I got a very weird comments about nutrition on this post that clearly had absolutely nothing to do with nutrition. Then what were they about? What? To be very clear, this is a medical condition I am dealing with that is a result of being post-surgery and having several autoimmune issues. Don't ask, I won't tell you what they are. If anything, eating to build muscle has caused me to drop weight, which is partially why my body is a bit overwhelmed. My body's autoimmune, my autoimmune flare-ups are being caused by the fact that I'm eating healthy, you guys. Okay. I got a whole gaggle of doctors working with me, and I see one at least weekly? You do? If they're good with my diet, I'm good with it. Are they? Do they even know what you're eating? Do they know that you went to Nando's after pretty much every workout? Because you said you were going to, and you recorded yourself doing it at least the first 2 weeks you were lifting. So do they know that your what your high protein new diet is you going to Nando's and eating chicken at Nando's? Do they know that's your new diet? Okay. Okay. She put that out, by the way. She recorded herself doing that. So I'm not just making that up. Your doctors are aware of that? They're cool with that? Your doctors are like, nah, that's cool. Nando's. Yeah, totally. This face right here. This is the, why aren't you guys on my side? This is on her new channel, by the way. This is not on her Glitter and Lasers channel where she normally yells at us. So this probably does count, even though it's on TikTok. This probably does count as the off-platform crash out, which again, part of her cycle that Sam at Every Size identified. So this easily counts as the off-platform crash out. Because again, this is on Viking Princess Lifts, not on her regular 8.5 million followers channel, which is Glitter and Lasers. Anyway, what's wrong now, Princess? Oh, I can call her that.
Today was bad. It was good, and it was bad.
Wait, you just
So first, let's talk about why today was good. I got to learn how to do a push press with the log. So here I am practicing just the push part. Then I'm going up and cleaning the log, and now I'm practicing the push to press part over and over to get familiar with the motion.
I'm trying to see where on her arm this pocket of fluid is. Because she's never mentioned this pocket of fluid before.
And my coach is actually standing to the side, giving me feedback, so I'm correcting with each push press. Then we did do some sets of clean to push press over and over, and I got to
You would think if you had a pocket of fluid, you'd be able to see it.
do this in the heaviest weight I've ever done, which is 100.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the weak arm then. So where is this pocket of fluid? Now, for those of you who don't know, Anna had surgery on her arms where they basically, she used to have quite a bit of flesh here. They literally chopped this all off. Like all of this, all of this came off. That's why her arms are disproportionate to the rest of her body, because she had it all removed. She had, they came in, they lipoed it all out, and then they cut all of the skin off. Now, her suture lines did not heal cleanly. And so she's got some pretty bad scarring. But from my understanding, she's healed up from that, or at least she said she was. That's another thing with Anna. She goes back and forth between whether she's healed up or not. So now apparently we're still healing?
135 pounds.
I don't see a real difference between this arm and this arm as far as like size, but you can see down here on her calves, like this calf, this leg from the knee down, you can see that it is swollen, and this leg tends to swell to be larger than this leg. None of this happened before her surgeries. Anna was pretty proportionate before her surgeries. Like that was one of the things Anna really had going for her, is that she was pretty proportional all the way, right? She didn't really have a wasp waist, but she had a waist, and she was very proportionate. She lost a lot of that with the surgeries, and now she has like these weird this weird swelling, and now she's saying she's got like a pocket of fluid here somewhere, and that her arms are swelling, and I don't see it. If anything, this arm looks a little bit bigger than this arm, which, if this arm's the stronger arm, that would make sense because, you know, she has a little bit more muscle on this arm than this arm.
which is a pretty good weight for someone at my level doing log.
I'm getting stoned for the first time.
I was so excited to do stones for the first time. I've been training.
Is that really how you pick a stone up? I'm just asking because, like, that looks like the absolute worst way to pick up a stone. I get that they're round and I get that they're really heavy, but I just feel like that is, like, the worst way to pick one of those up.
For about 2 months, and I've never gotten to do these before, so I was kind of pumped. And the first set at around 95 pounds,
She's literally picking it up with her back. It just looks like the absolute worst way to pick those up.
was okay. Like, it didn't feel bad. My body was reacting fairly normally. It didn't even feel that heavy, so I was confident that, like, hey, I'm gonna have a good day. However, when we went up to the next weight, which is about 135 pounds, things did not continue to be okay.
I can't do it right now. My arm.
Also, why are you wearing those kind of shoes with that ball? This is one of the rare situations where I would want a steel-toed shoe. They make steel-toed sneakers. I know, I own them. But, like, you drop that mofo on your foot. Goodbye, toe. You know, I don't know. I'm just, OSHA beat some shit into me, okay, man? I'm just saying, like, steel toes. They make steel-toed sneakers. Putting it out there. But that still just looks like the absolute worst way to pick that up. Am I nuts?
I'm not gonna cry about it, but I'm gonna cry.
And then she cries. You can tell he's done with it. He's over it.
In order to distract me, my coach made me pivot and do some leg work, and this was to remind myself that I was still strong, even if my arms today were weak.
She looks like she's just rocking back and forth. That's some low weight. She can press more than that. I know because she's shown us she can. So.
It did help, but I did still end up crying in my car on the way home because, you know, nobody's perfect.
I still don't understand why you put this on the internet. Like, why is it so important to her to show herself crying all the time? All the time. And then she's like, I'm not a crier. Really? Why do you do it so much then? 315-pound deadlifts for reps. That's 10-10. That's a 10-10 feeling right there. But this is where she weed herself. Is this the same lift? She's just at like a different angle. Okay, cool. She says, fun fact, you don't have to live up to other people's standards. Chasing everyone else's expectation only takes your focus away from achieving the things you want in life. If you waste your time trying to become what someone else wants you to be, you'll never fully be the person you want to be. Actually, that's pretty good information. I don't know if that's a fact, but it's good information.
Right now is I'm simultaneously being shamed for losing weight. That's like weird thing right now is I'm simultaneously being shamed for losing weight and for still being too fat. So
Who's shaming you for losing weight?
you know what? I can't win, and I've stopped trying.
This is the face of a guy who just wants you to shut up and lift the bar. I think he's done with her. His body language is relatively closed off, to be honest with you. He's got his eyes closed, his head's pulled back. He's actually leaning away from her. He's got his arms crossed, and he's actually got his hands crossed pretty low. And if you notice, he's got one hand, it's like holding the other. It's a certain way of holding it. He does, however, have his feet pointing towards her. We're going to count this as being one of his feet. He does, however, have his body turned towards her and his feet turned towards her, so he is paying attention to her. But I think it's because he just wants her to pick the fucking bar up. Yeah, no, he's...
Yeah. That's like weird thing right now, is I'm simultaneously being shamed.
No, there was that big sigh. I saw that sigh.
For losing weight. And
No, he's done with her. Sorry. He wants her to do the thing that she is there to do. And I think that's why he is focused on her, because he's a coach. But as far as whatever the fuck she's talking about right now, he's over it. So, what is she talking about? I'm simultaneously being shamed for losing weight and not losing enough weight. Who's shaming you for losing weight? And why do you care? Anyway. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. I do think that people are shaming her for not losing weight. And it's not necessarily that she's being shamed for not losing weight. I think it's people are questioning what the fuck she's eating because she's not losing weight. But she's in this gym and she's clearly lifting heavy weight, right? And so there are a lot of people who are like, how are you not losing weight? And it's not that she's being shamed for it. People are just confused as to how she's so clearly active, but yet not dropping weight. It's not shame. It's just a lot of people are just like, what the fuck are you eating that you're not losing weight while doing this? The gym is my vacation. This is just her doing... These are just clips of her doing things. Okay. We've seen pretty much all of this before. This is just her clipping things together again. So we are going to skip it. I know... You know I love orange and sparkles. I didn't know you liked orange. Of course, I have to make something inspired by Taylor Swift and the life of a showgirl. If you know, you know. The Swifties are all gearing up for the new album dropping on the 3rd. And I know I can't wait to listen to Ophelia the moment I can. This is a work in progress, so keep an eye out for part 2 while we wait for TS12. You know, it's funny because she used to bitch about Taylor Swift. But now she's a Swiftie. So we're just going to do... So it's just arts and crafts, right? I don't care. All right, so that's glitter and lasers. We're not doing that. Now, the crash shot I was talking about that I wanted to go over was... was this one in the car. So we were able to go over this pretty well. We're staying on this face. I don't care. So we were able to go over this. Yeah. So we were able to go over this. I don't have to go hunt it down anywhere. I know there's been some stuff on our Instagram that's come and gone. She was talking about her. I know there was like I think I went over it actually. She put up some Instagram stories, which were basically just stills where she was talking about her manual lymphatic drainage massage and how she was moving the waste into her trunk and that was making her ill. And it was just another one of her I'm sick, don't ask me about it kind of posts. I start to feel like those are just excuses. They're just her excuse posts. And then she gets mad when she posts those and people call her out for her bullshit. She gets mad about it. Whatever. I don't even care anymore about those because 90% of the time they're full of misinformation. They're full of like half information. Sometimes she does actually have like some facts, but they're like half facts. They're like anafacts. They're like half factual and the other half not so much. So that's kind of how I am with her manual lymphatic massage facts that she puts up there. And And, you know, the other part of it is she almost always has something about, oh, my autoimmune disorders. What? Which one today? Which one you notice, like, Hashimoto's is the only one I know she's been diagnosed with, and you notice she doesn't talk about it at all ever anymore. Not since she's decided she's a lipedema warrior. We don't hear about the Hashimoto's ever. But I know she has stopped talking about the EDS. So that's interesting to me that she has just completely dropped that one altogether. And I think the reason why she's dropped that altogether is she's really stepped back from the lipedema warrior stuff. And in order to pursue this heavy lifting, strong woman stuff, she can't have EDS because that's a connective tissue. That's an actual connective tissue disorder. And it is my understanding from all of y'all who have shared who do have EDS, and from what I have looked up on the internet myself, this is a huge no-no for people with EDS because your joints apparently just, you know, dislocate because you sneezed, apparently. Like it's apparently like a pretty major thing. And Anna was trying really hard to convince people that she had it. And then she started doing the heavy lifting and other extreme on her joints activities. And people were like, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that if you have EDS. So I think because she wants to do the hiking and she wants to do the heavy lifting and she wants to do the strong woman, and she sort of kind of started a second running arc, but then quit again. She just quit mentioning it again. Because she wanted to start doing all of that, she has to drop the EDS storyline. So I'm sure we won't hear about that again anytime soon, if we ever hear about it again. And I'm sure if you ask her about it, you'll either get completely ignored or she'll yell at you. Probably you'll just get completely ignored. I have not been following her Medical Mysteries podcast because I just haven't been following it at all. I know she's been putting clips up on her Instagram here and there. But yeah, I'm just not driven to follow it at all. So I'm impressed it's still on the air. I think I'm impressed it's still on the air. So that's good for her. I'm wondering who is actually in charge of it, because I think if it was Anna, I don't think it would still be going on. Because you notice she does not talk about it ever. You never hear her talk about it since she's stopped with the lipedema stuff. You really haven't heard her mention it. So I'm just kind of pointing out how Anna completely changes her personality and her identity when she picks up a new one, like this Viking Princess Lifts thing. She is completely reinventing herself. And on the one hand, I'm like, that's cool. Go for it. You know, because everybody's allowed to reinvent themselves. The Viking Princess thing, I know she's doing it just because, like, she made a crack about being a Viking princess, and, like, the internet kind of lost their shit over it because it's kind of tasteless. But she decided to lean into it. Here's my thing. Anna's heritage is Irish. Irish women are kind of badass. Why didn't you lean into that? At least people couldn't be, like, mad at you for leaning into being Irish, right? Like, Irish Princess Lifts, that would be pretty cool. But no, she decided to go for the thing that she has no heritage in, but whatever. I'm not mad. Anyway. So I don't care that she's reinventing herself. I really don't care that she's reinventing herself. But the problem is when she does this kind of a thing, she tries to scrub her old identities, and she tries to hide any problems that her old identities might cause for her new identity. And in the past, she might have had some success with it. And I think, honestly, that's why her old Glitter and Lasers blog is you know, the only way you can access it is on the Wayback Machine now, because she just tried to delete it altogether, and those old entries are not there on her actual blog, right? Because the Glitter and Lasers blog still exists, but you can't see her 2012, 2013 posts anymore. 14 and 15. I need to get back on that one too. I don't have ADHD. Anyway, but when she does it nowadays, the internet has been paying way more attention to her and recording it and reacting to it and documenting it for her, right? So it's harder for her to delete it, and it's harder for her to ignore it. And so, yeah, she kind of gets away with it for a little while, but, you know, Pepperidge Farm remembers, and they bring it up. And I just wonder how long this Viking Princess Lifts thing is going to work for her, with people bringing up things like, hey, Anna, what happened to the EDS? Or, you know, just the other bullshit. Hey, what's going on with your Hashimoto's? Hey, are you back on the GLP-1 again? Which GLP-1 are you taking? Because you said you were going back on it. So which GLP-1 are you on? Or people saying, hey, we've seen the videos you've posted of the things that you're eating. What are you eating now? People aren't trying to do a gotcha moment, or some of them are trying to do a gotcha moment with what she's eating. But, you know, she's like, I've cleaned up my eating. Okay, what are you eating now? Because we know what you were eating in the past, even though you're like, you guys don't know what I eat. Yeah, we kind of do. You've kind of shown us. We've seen what you order when you go to restaurants. We can guess what you're ordering when you're at home. We've watched you put away 2 family meals from Nando's. I mean, we can guess what you're eating. We've watched you cook. We know what you're eating, Anna. So what have you done? What have you done to change your food? What have you done to change your diet? People just want to know. If you're going to bring it up, people are going to ask. And I mean, how long is this Viking Princess Lifts account going to go? How long is it going to run with people asking? The other thing I'm really interested in, and I know I need to wrap up here, is what's going to happen with the Glitter and Lasers account now that she's got her new focus, her Viking Princess Lifts focus, because she's over there a lot now, posting all of her weightlifting stuff. And the last time she got sidetracked with a project, she quit posting clothing hauls pretty much altogether. Because the last project she was doing was she was trying desperately to become a lipedema inspirational lipedema warrior, and it didn't work out. But she quit posting clothing hauls. She really just stopped doing fashion altogether. And she got to the point where she hadn't posted anything on YouTube except for reused shorts for almost 6 months. So what's going to happen with her old TikTok, her Glitter and Lasers TikTok? What's going to happen over on YouTube again? Are we not going to get any clothing hauls again on YouTube because she's focused on lifting and becoming a strong woman? So how's that going to affect things? I'm bad about checking in on her Instagram, mainly because she's blocked me and I can't do it just easily over there. So there's that. But I'm pretty sure her Instagram probably suffered a little bit. And I know she's got a Viking Princess Lifts Instagram. So how's her Glitter and Lasers Instagram going to suffer now that she's posting on the Viking Princess Lifts Instagram? You know, is she going to start a Viking Princess Lifts YouTube as well? I should probably check and see. But that's kind of my thing. So how is the Glitter and Lasers brand going to suffer now that she's trying to build the Viking Princess Lifts brand? Things to look out for. All right, this has run longer than I care for it to be. If you have made it this far in the video, go ahead and put an orange down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think down below. I pretty much said what I was going to say while I was there. Don't forget to like the video if you would, please. And leave a comment and or an orange as your emoji. And yeah, if there's something specific in the video that you guys are commenting about, leave a timestamp. That has been very helpful for me to remember what the hell we're talking about. And thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. See how I did that? And I will see everybody in the next video. Bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.